What's going on? Welcome back to another week. There's not a whole lot going on this week, but I do have some topics I want to cover, so with that, let's get into it. To start us off, there was a stream just yesterday. It was a whole NCA versus where they had the community managers from Blade and Soul Neo, Lineage 2, and Ion all fight against each other in the new game called Blade and Soul Heroes. Blade and Soul Heroes is going to be a gacha game releasing tomorrow as of the release date of this video. Now, Blade and Soul Heroes, it looks interesting. I'll probably try it out. I'll probably do a couple of videos on it, some streams for it, so that way in case people are interested, you can check that out. However, it doesn't look like a full replacement for any huge MMO. Like I said, it's mostly a Genshin clone. There's some manual battles. There's also a lot of auto battling involved. To get into the Blade and Soul Neo relevant portion of this, during the stream, there were codes given out. So you find the codes on the screen right now, and you can put those into your little coupon box, either through the Purrple launcher or through in-game, and you'll be able to get a couple good random purple card chests for yourself. Other than that, there's some codes for Lineage 2 and Ion. I'm going to put those on the screen as well for anyone who also happens to play those games or is looking to play those games. And there's also a Blade and Soul Heroes launch code for when the game launches tomorrow. You can put this into your account and claim it for some extra cool stuff. Now, I do want to talk about the stream a little bit since that's really the only thing that we have going on. It was funny to see that we had just all the community managers fighting, not even against each other, but it was against the game. It was kind of a laughing fest to see them just constantly die to the game itself, not even be able to really compete fairly in their own competition because there was a whole lot of mess ups. Now, of course, this is the first time NCA was trying to do this kind of stream on Twitch, and they did do well in making sure that the rewards they gave out to everyone. There was supposed to be that competition where only the winning community manager got extra stuff for their team, their game, but they ended up giving it to everyone because of the scuffed amount of stuff going on in the stream. It was really funny to watch. To do a quick rundown for anyone interested in the Blade and Soul Heroes stuff, though, it is releasing, like I said, tomorrow on September 24th. It is a team-based gacha MMO like Genshin, and it is a mix of open world and turn-based combat with an auto battle mode and some manual mechanics as well. There's shared gear amongst your characters, so you don't gear up every single character. You basically just get gear and then you can throw them onto your characters as you need. You don't have to find specific gear for specific characters as far as I'm aware. There are going to be PvP modes, there are going to be ranking and leaderboards. There is also a DPS meter in Blade and Soul Heroes, which makes me so confused why we still don't have one in Neo. Hello? Beside the point, I guess. There's going to be guilds, there's going to be a whole lot of story involved in this. The setting of the game is actually supposed to be several years before the setting of Blade and Soul, the MMO. So this will be a really nice bit of lore for anyone kind of looking to that, and you'll be able to explore the lore through not only the characters and their interactions in the world, but through a bunch of webtoons, comics, and cutscenes and things going on in the game. There is going to be an energy system, just like with any gacha game, so you're not going to be able to infinitely grind it. It is going to be very much similar to Blade and Soul Neo, where you have a set amount of energy or a set amount of times you can claim rewards from things, and then as soon as it's gone unless you use some kind of recovery potion. I'm sure they're going to have something like that. Now, there does seem to be a bit of problems with how the UI is set up. It was hard for just the community managers who've already seen the game to kind of navigate their way around it, so it might be really interesting for completely new players to also get used to it. However, I'm sure people will get used to it or complain about it enough that they change it at some point. The first expansion they're going to have for the game will only come 6 days after the launch. It's very similar to how Neo had its first major patch within a week or two of actually launching. So they only plan to stick people in the very, very beginning area for the first week or so. And the first character they're going to have as your premier gacha character is going to be Poharan. So if you really want to play that game, if you're a big gacha fanatic and you want Poharan on your team, you're going to want to roll for her while she's on what we call raid up. And there is a pity system for these rolls. However, I don't know how nice it's really going to be. It looks like they have special banners where it's within 50 pulls, if you don't get the character, you get it. Poharan seems to be within 90 pulls. Now, who knows how much a pull costs, but assuming it's like $1 per pull at minimum, that's at least $90 to try and get the character, which isn't that bad, but considering you're trying to pull multiple characters and probably multiple copies of those characters, that can add up really, really quickly, and you're only going to get the guarantee for the first time. So keep that in mind. With that kind of wraps up the whole Blade and Soul Heroes thing. Like I said, I'll be exploring that on stream and also in some videos with this following week. You can follow along with that if you want. If you don't care about it, you have the codes and you can go ahead and get the rewards for whatever games you play. The next thing I want to talk about is the whole Silverfrost field boss spawn things. Now, there has been a large player-led effort to actually kind of rectify the problems that NCSoft has put on the community with making them completely fucking random and super hard to get to and super hard to find and just a big pain in the ass for everybody. Now we actually have a chart. There is a player-made chart to show the spawns of all of these bosses, because apparently these spawns aren't actually random, they were just randomly set. So the spawns will always be in the same place at the same time on the same days. To explain it, here's the chart. Now, I was hesitant about putting this in a video because obviously there's going to be a lot of people saying, oh, we weren't supposed to know this information, and as soon as NCSoft hears about this, knows about this, they're going to change the things, and to that I say, that's not the intention of this. The point of this is this information should be known to everybody, and I don't want to be someone that's trying to gatekeep this or spread this in the shadows. So that's why this is in a video. I'm sorry if NCSoft changes this. If someone from NCSoft is watching this, please know, don't fucking change this. Players have tried to find this because this is what we want, and this is an emergent form of gameplay that you should really be encouraging, at the very least. If this is really a problem, then you're going to have to change your entire system, and that's also another reason why I'm doing this. Let's say with the patch tomorrow, NCSoft changes the spawn timers, this chart no longer works. I highly doubt their entire system is going to change where it actually randomizes everything. All you're going to have to do is take a tally of when and where the field bosses spawn for the next week, and voila, you'll have it again. Now, I do want to put forward that if we do see them change these things, if they do actively go out of their way to make it so this is harder to deal with, then that is clearly their intent, and I want to say, I hate that. I would really hate the fact that they are purposely making this stuff so obfuscated that it's a problem for players, and even though players have actively tried to fix that problem for them, they go out of their way to make it a problem again. Anyway, you have the chart. Now, there are some spots missing on this chart. Some of the times might be a couple minutes off here or there, or maybe a spawn location might be off here or there, but for 99% of it, I'm pretty sure, if not all of it, it is very accurate. Please use it as much as you can, while you can. Hopefully we can use it for a very long time before anything changes. And yeah, go get your Virtuous Soul Patch fragments, everybody. And the last thing I wanted to cover was new player experience. I've actually had quite a few new players coming into my stream or into my chat saying, hey, I'm new, how do I get stronger? You know, I'm this AP, I just finished story, I just have my blue books, what do I do? And to that, there's a whole lot of answers depending on how you want to play the game, but I wanted to give a simple outline for some people here so that way they kind of have an idea of what to do, at least what I would personally recommend doing. But it is to be taken with a grain of salt because of course this also changes depending on how much you want to invest in the game, or if you're trying to be free to play, and also how much time you're willing to put in and how patient you are, right? Anyone starting now should not be expecting to be at the top of the table within a week or a month, especially without spending money. If you're trying to get through the entire game free to play, it's going to take a very long time to build up to where you want it to be. Remember, everyone who is at the top of the tables or like close to it who are free to play have probably been playing since launch 6 months ago. It probably took them several months just to get there. It took me several months just to get anywhere close to the top of where any class is. For the longest time, I was like bottom 20 at fucking World Boss. Now, at the very least, I'm able to compete against a majority of people in my class. Granted, I'm playing a very low population class. So, with all of that in mind, here's my personal recommendation for how to run the game as a new free-to-play player. The first thing you want to do, of course, is finish story. It'll get you to level 50, it'll get you a random purple book. The next thing I would highly recommend doing is running at world boss, just hitting the world boss, seeing the names that pop up in the top 10, and checking their gear. See what books they're running, see what they're trying to run with, and that way you can get an idea of how to build. Or you can look up a build on YouTube or somewhere else if you can find one. For Warlocks, there is a very good build in the Warlock Discord chat in the Blade and Soul Neo official Discord, posted by Bunny. It is incredibly helpful and it spells out everything for you, whether you're doing Shadow or Ice build. I highly recommend you looking at that. For other classes, I'm sure there might be similar things, however, you'd have to do that research a bit more independently. From there, once you have an idea of what books you're trying to get and where you need to take your build, I would highly recommend working on your personal accessories and working on your personal levels. It's going to be very, very hard, I'm not going to lie, to get parties at the very beginning, especially because a lot of people just want to run dungeons fast. However, there is a saving grace in the fact that you can do a lot with just the base blue soul shields, the Podan soul shields from Silverfrost, and with the blue gear that you get from the drops from the blue dungeons, especially because that blue gear can now upgrade to relevant purple gear and onward. So my recommendation is just run as many blue dungeons as you can. If you see someone doing a blue train and they're taking anyone, apply to it. If you see people a lot of people do Chunk of Frost Caverns is going to be your biggest boon. You want to try to run with that as much as possible because that will give you the drops for the soul shields, for the blue accessories. If you get the challenge chest, you'll get even more of those. You'll also have a small chance, granted, but still a chance to get purple gear and legendary soul shields. It's not going to be a ton and you can't really rely on that, but you will see those small gains, and within a week or two I'm sure you'll be full built with blue gear, and from there you can upgrade that to purple and then start running more relevant dungeons like Sogun's Garden and Sogun's Lament without worrying about whether or not you can get into a party. Now granted, there are also parties for those higher up dungeons where people just want someone really, really low on their ranking number, whatever you want to call it, because it brings the party average down and gets them rewards chests. So you can always look for parties looking for people with lower AP too. If you're having problems getting parties, there's still independent stuff that you can do as well. I highly recommend running Mushins every single day, not only to just farm insignias, but also to get used to your class, to get used to your rotation. There is a huge difference in DPS between someone who knows how to play their class or knows how to work with the books that they have versus someone who's just spamming buttons. So something that allows you to really practice that is Mushins. Go run Mushins, just do it. It'll give you the extra point towards your daily quest for the 3 daily missions. If you can finish those 3 daily missions, it might be hard, but you should be able to get a field boss every day. You should be able to get Mushins every day, and then there should be a blue dungeon that you can run every day. If you happen to be able to get into one of those, that would be great. If maybe it's Talus and people don't want to take you, then unfortunately that's kind of how it is. Maybe you can find a party that can grab you, or always post in the world chat. I highly recommend people not just sit around and wait for a party all the time, especially if you're having a hard time doing that, but actively talk in world chat. Say, hey, I'm new. I have low gear. I need help running these kinds of things. Can someone help me? Or would someone like to do a party with me? I guarantee you, while not everyone is going to be jumping at the bit to help the new player, there will be some people who can go and help you. I will personally go and help people sometimes if I know that I can, if I have the time. That won't be every time, and of course we have to be careful with how charitable we expect people to be. You can't just expect everyone to help you when you ask politely, because other people have their own stuff going on. However, it is something that you can try to do. And I do think it fosters a good community because you'll find the people willing to help you or who can help you and be able to make friends that way. And from there, kind of get to play more of the game socially, which is the whole point of an MMO. On the topic of socially playing an MMO, join a clan if you can. Maybe there is a clan recruiting just for anyone. Maybe there's a clan specifically to help newbies. You can join a clan and they'll be able to help you run those things or help you level up, or at least give you more people to talk to and enjoy the experience with. For the solo progression, The other things besides Mushin that I would highly recommend are doing the field bosses as much as you can to help farm soul badge fragments and portrait chests. You will also want to run Moonstone Plains, also known as Ancient Lunar Meadow, every day. Do your 30 minutes in Ancient Lunar Meadow, press F10, go in there, hit the level 50 mobs, hit level 53 mobs, hit whatever mobs you can kill, and just run it. It will get you some gold, it will get you good experience, and before you know it, you will be leveling up. You also want to be able to do Shiver Stone quests every day. They are just random kill field things, and it will be a lot easier for you to run those than, say, a dungeon where you're waiting on people to do so. And then you can also do the faction quests every day. Faction quests give you a lot of gold, a lot of EXP. You don't have to just restrict yourself to Silverfrost either. You can run the faction quests in every single region and it will give you a lot of EXP, especially with those early levels. It won't level you up every single level every single day. However, you can expect to make very good progress steadily over the course of a week or two until eventually you'll find yourself in a much better position. Overall, the best thing I could say is be patient, try to find people to play with, and just have fun with it. There are things you can do to independently grow, and there are things you can do to try to play with people and increase your character's builds that way. Remember to do as much as you can individually, and remember to try to get as much social play in blue dungeons, or if you can find a carry for a purple dungeon, even better, and slowly work on progressing just your blue gear. You don't have to immediately try to get purple to be relevant, especially since you're still missing insignias and card sets, which are a large budget of players' power. Overall, I hope this helps some people kind of get oriented to where they want to be if they're a new player. And on top of that, I do want to say, if you're someone who's maybe not free to play, but you're willing to invest a little bit of money, you can accelerate this process. Putting $5 into the game to get, say, 500 divine gems will buy you a lot of the blue gear you want off the market really cheap anyways, and then you can kind of progress it from there. There's blue gear with accuracy, crit damage, crit rate, double stats, mantras, all that kind of stuff, 3-slot, etc. sitting on the market for 50 divine gems because people know that there are new players either trying to grab that stuff or people who just need those blue gears to upgrade their current blue gears, but they know that no one's willing to actually pay anything for it outside of the 50 DG. So you're very easily able to just throw some money in and get a very, very good return on it to help kind of boost your experience. However, it is not necessary. You do just have to spend like a week or so probably farming that yourself, like I said, in standard blue dungeons or something like that. Anyway, with that, I wish good luck to any of the new players or returning players making new characters in their progression. And if you're on North America, you can always try to find me when I'm doing my blue dungeon runs. I'm typically taking anyone who wants to join and running through them as best we can. If you need help with learning the mechs, I will always explain them to you. And I do encourage other players who don't have a hard time running these dungeons to accept many, many new players into their parties as well to help kind of bring the community together and help bring everybody up. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's news. It wasn't really much news, but it was a bit more of a rant or topic discussion. If you prefer more topic discussions versus news, let me know. If you prefer this to be a separate kind of video, let me know in the comments below. And as always, look out for that bestie bottle. It's hidden somewhere, and be the first to comment, and you'll get a code. Till next time, peace.